Good afternoon. I'd like to start my talk today with a rhetorical question. When you think of the great rivalries in nature, what do you think of? If you watch a lot of David Attenborough, you might think lion versus buffalo. If you're a medical researcher, human versus mosquitoes. If you're a PhD student of my ilk, you might remember Mario versus Donkey Kong. Well, I'm actually here today to tell you about a great rivalry you've probably never heard of, one that occurs in the rainforest throughout the world between large trees and woody vines. You see, when these woody vines climb up the trees, they place structural stresses on the trees, which can result in decreased fruit production, decreased growth, stem damage, and even death. Now, this may not sound very important, but if a tree dies and is replaced by a vine, large amounts of carbon are liberated into the atmosphere, contributing to global climate change. Now, this is where my work comes in. So to analyse what happens in this rivalry when you get a large forest and you chop it up into small little bits, as is occurring throughout the world, as you can see if you fly from Cairns to Townsville, like I did today, I went in and I measured all the trees and vines in 30,000 square metres of rainforest. I also examined more than 20 environmental and spatial variables to see which ones were important for this rivalry. Now, you may think studying vines you'd spend a lot of time looking up, and yeah, I did a fair bit of that. But the hardest bit about studying vines was figuring out where they came from. And the best way to do that was to crawl along the forest floor, following them back to where they started. So actually, I surveyed 30,000 square metres of rainforest crawling. So what did I find out of that? My first finding was, if you're going to survey 30,000 square metres of rainforest crawling, you should do a double major in plant ecology and parasitology. And my second and main finding was that out of more than 20 environmental and spatial variables I examined, only one was really important in determining who won that battle in the fragments between the trees and the vines, and that was the size of the trees. If the trees were big, they won the battle in the fragments of forest and the vines lost. If the trees were small, they lost and the vines won. But I guess we shouldn't be too surprised at this because, as everybody knows, it's usually the big guy in the fight that wins. Thanks.